All right, now Douglas Murray went on Joe Rogan and he got totally destroyed on the whole Gaza and the genocide that's going on in around Israel at the moment, and he got totally destroyed. Now Douglas Murray, he's not an academic, he's not an expert, he's just a scammer foreign agent that has been astroturfed by, you could say, people in Israel, basically. And Sky News has come out and said, Douglas Murray destroys Joe Rogan. Okay. So let's have a look at the comments firstly. Let's have a quick look at the comments and then we're going to get into this video. So, you just exposed yourself, Sky News. Pathetic. What is this propaganda? Sky News living in an alternate universe. It's basically, I'll go right to the top. I recommend watching the whole show and making up your own mind. 2,000 thumbs up here. It's hardly a takedown. It's a conversation most people want, but we're not allowed to have that conversation, by the way. Yeah, the titles are awful. Sky News, you ain't getting your check from APAC this week. This is basically what it all is. It's Sky News being called out because people can see what's going on here. Let's have a look at this this scam video by Sky News, or should I say Scam News Australia.
Joe Rogan has been humbled. Commentator and author Douglas Murray appeared on the #1 podcast in the world, The Joe Rogan Experience, where he spectacularly called out Joe Rogan for giving more airtime to anti-Israel guests since the October 7, 2023 Hamas terror attack on Israel.
Since the war in Israel began, and since the war in Ukraine began, you've had quite a lot of people who are very against both in different ways.
Yes.
Do you think you had enough people on who are supportive of either war?
I don't know that word.
Yeah, I don't know that word either. Like, who comes on to support a war or mass murder of unarmed people? Like, Douglas Murray is an absolute piece of fucking shit.
If that's a good word.
Let's say enough people are on the side of Israel instead of wild critics of Israel.
Well, I've had a few. I mean, I believe Godsad is on the side of Israel, for sure. Jordan is on the side of Israel.
You had Mike Baker, Coleman Hughes.
Yeah.
Coleman did it for like 20 minutes. It wasn't why he was here.
No, I mean, none of them is why they're here. You know, it's a good question.
Do you think you've
You put on a posh British accent, a snarky gay little attitude with a lot of sarcasm. It doesn't make you smart. This guy's probably the dumbest propagandist I've ever seen. I watched the debate. I don't think there's any need for me to break down the debate, but he got absolutely destroyed. It was like a child. He's like, but you said this word, and that word is I disagree with that word. It's like, how can you engage with the arguments? We're in a debate, right? The problem here is that the propagandists working for the cabal cannot defend what's going on because we all have cameras. Telegram's been releasing everything. Twitter's been releasing everything. We know what's going on over there.
one way?
Me personally?
No, just with the guests.
The guests, yeah, probably more tilted towards the idea that perhaps the way they've done it is barbaric.
Mm-hmm. But why do you think that is? Just out of interest, just because interested in your selection of guests, because you're like the world's #1 podcast.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think about it that way. I just think I'd like to talk.
Yeah, he doesn't have a selection of guests. What he does is have people who are telling the truth, and he gets to the truth. That's why it's the #1 podcast, because he's not beholden to anybody. He's independent. And that can only happen in the United States. Someone like myself, I know a lot of you people might look at my clicks and think, oh, I'm not popular. But if I was in the United States, I'd have 1 million subs, easy. The amount of clicks, the amount of comments, the amount of loyal supporters I have here, I've just been squashed because I live in Australia, which is a dictatorship run by this cabal, and this is why I hate these people so much. It's because you cannot rise above it by being competent because these scumbags control the algorithm. There's no way Sky News would have as more clicks than me. You know, I should have a lot more clicks, a lot more everything, but it's rigged. You see, only in the United States where you can actually have, you know, an independent voice. So that's another frustrating thing. And then they astroturf scammers like Douglas Murray here, and then you got Sky News. The cabal always says, "Oh, we're the victims, we're the underdogs, and the media is not controlled by us." It's like, hang on, you own Sky News, you own all of these propagandist, like, you know, media sources that should be listed as foreign agents, right?
To this person, but can I just? Sorry, it's your show. But
Sure.
If you're going to interview historians of the conflict or historians in general, why would you get somebody like Ian Carroll or?
Yeah, but
Online commentators applauded Douglas Murray for his courage to go when
No, nobody applauded Douglas Murray. He's been totally destroyed. Google his name, Google him on YouTube. Everybody has totally destroyed this guy. And it doesn't really matter to the cabal because they will just recycle in and astroturf another scammer. And you're going to think that he's on your side. He's going to be anti-COVID and anti-lockdowns, and they're just going to astroturf a new one. That's the new game, astroturfing new guys. And there's a whole bunch of these scammers that are coming up now. And there's a good chance that a lot... So basically, if you want to know an Australian influencer that is a total fucking scammer, that is a foreign agent out to steal your money and steal your political power in your country, just watch Sky News. As soon as you see one that has a YouTube channel or some sort of social following, that piece of fucking shit is your enemy.
no one has gone before, with this person saying, Douglas Murray does what few men alive would dare. He calls out Joe Rogan in his own studio. This person agrees, saying Joe Rogan is finally getting the criticism he deserves. Douglas Murray should be running the world. Murray then demolished Rogan's other guest, comedian turned pro-Palestine commentator Dave Smith, after he revealed he had never actually been to Israel, despite condemning them for the past 18 months.
I've been plenty of
There's
times.
no deficit?
No, there are
No,
plenty
that's what
of...
left out.
There are plenty... How many... Have you been to the crossing points?
No,
When were you last there at all?
I've never been.
You've never been.
Well, I'm not.
That's not a takedown. You know, this is what the Chinese Communist Party would argue about a lot of the anti-China analysts, geopolitical analysts that were saying that China's very powerful and taking over. The CCP members would step in and they'll say, look, have you been to China? How long since you've been to China? You haven't been to China in a few months. Things have changed. Now, what the cabal is using now, they're using Chinese Communist Party propaganda talking points. And this is what Sky News is using here. They're, in fact, using Chinese Communist Party talking points. That tells you everything you need to know about Sky News. That's not an argument because, you know, I'm commenting on something that I can see on the internet, a conversation, a real conversation that I can see in, 1080 or 4K. I can see it. I don't have to be in the room of this podcast to comment on something that actually happened. The same as what's happening in Gaza. We can all see the videos. We can all see the mass murder that's going on over there. You don't need to actually be there and see it with your own eyes when you've got cameras. That's why we have cameras, dummy. Douglas Murray is such a fucking retard. And so Sky News for thinking that this is a talking point. Keep in mind, these are the best talking points Douglas retard Murray had. The snarky fucking carrot up his ass piece of shit he is.
Am I not allowed to talk about it now? Have you ever been to Nazi Germany? Are you allowed to have feelings about them?
You can't time travel, but you can travel.
Okay, but so what? So what's the point? Like,
Well, if you haven't been to Nazi Germany, then shut the fuck up, Douglas Murray, you piece of shit. So that's the argument, right? It's a non-argument. And for Sky News to be using this, he destroyed Dave Smith with this argument. Have you been there? It's just a non-argument. And this is why Dave Smith's like shocked. He's like, are you that stupid? Everyone, and read the comments. Read the comments on this Sky News video. Go to go to Joe Rogan's podcast, watch the podcast, highly recommend it, and then search Douglas Murray's name in YouTube and watch all of the takedowns of this piece of shit.
No,
Okay.
I find that
Lots of people have been there and agree with me, and lots of people have been there and agree with you.
Yeah, but
so
if
I don't
you're
know
going to
what
spend a year and a half talking about a place, you should at least do the courtesy of visiting it.
all right. I just think this is a non-argument.
You don't
but
think?
Okay. No, I think it's a non-argument.
But if you're an expert,
Well, you have to go and touch the ground.
no,
to
I
be able
think
talk
you have
about
to
it.
see. I think it's a good idea to see stuff, particularly if you
Okay.
spend a career talking about something. Yes.
You can see stuff on camera. You don't need to go and touch the ground. Joe Rogan was like making a little snarky comment at him there.
Commentators were split on the exchange, with this person saying, "You totally missed the point, you muppet." He is purporting himself an expert on what is happening now, but has not even made any effort to be there and find out, unlike Douglas Murray, who has. This person disagrees, saying, "This is a low blow from Douglas. He's struggling to get him on actual points, so he tries to belittle his authority with his non-argument."
Wow, I'm surprised they even leave that comment there. And that's it. They just this is all Douglas Murray, the entire debate was trying to catch him on semantics. At one point the guy said, "Oh, we, the United States, is funding Israel in this, mass murder campaign." And Douglas Murray said, "We? What do you mean we? This isn't we. You aren't the American government." What? So if the Australian government is funding something and I say we, the Australian government, it is we, because the government wouldn't exist because the government is a parasite sucking off the Australian people. The same as the United States government. It's a parasite sucking off the American people. It's not a separate entity. And this is Douglas Murray. He's just a snarky, I think he might be gay, I'm not exactly sure, but he acts gay. But he's like a snarky, pompous, arrogant, carrot up the ass piece of shit.
Bad faith from Murray. Philosopher Sam Harris also weighed in and agreed with Douglas Murray, saying Joe Rogan has good intentions but is out of his depth.
Joe is a genuinely good guy who wants good things for.
Oh, and Sam Harris, like I've read, I read one of his books anyway. He's part of the cabal. There's so many astroturfed cabal famous people online these days, and they get triggered, to weigh in on topics whenever the cabal needs them. Sam Harris has been a laughingstock for several years now. He debated Jordan Peterson before Jordan Peterson was taken down by the cabal. I think they got him. They got him with something. They probably drugged Jordan Peterson as well. They broke him mentally, and then they brought him into the cabal. That's why he works with Ben Shapiro now.
People, but he is honestly in over his head on so many topics of great consequence, right? When he brings someone on to just shoot the shit about, how the Holocaust is not what you think it was, right? And maybe Churchill's the bad guy in World War II. Or he's got Dave.
That's what these scumbags always do. What they do is, you're not allowed to talk about certain topics. It's like China. I've been through this with China for the last decade. Oh, you're not allowed to talk about Tiananmen Square or Taiwan or the genocide that's happening in Xinjiang. You're not allowed to talk about what's happening in China. Yeah, you're not allowed to talk about rapes and murders happening in Hong Kong as they took back Hong Kong. You're not allowed to talk about those things. You're only allowed to talk about what, you just keep stuff to yourself. And this is how the cabal that runs Australia operates. You're a conspiracy theorist and you're crazy. But it's the same thing that I dealt with for years with the same scumbags. And the reason is the cabal loved China when I first started talking about geopolitics. The cabal sent all of their technology to China. The cabal, these people, these are the ones that stole all of our technologies without our permission and gave it to China so that they could financialize and globalize the entire world and flood us with fucking immigrants. That's these guys. This is John Howard. That's these people. That's these evil people that have just. This is the reason why we have feminism. We have like some immigrant woman from overseas come and take all of your houses and property, and this is why you don't have a house. This is why you can't afford to live in Australia anymore. This is why I had to leave Australia, because of this evil cabal financializing our countries for their own gain.
Smith, being treated as an expert on Israel and Palestine and the history of that conflict.
This guy's dopey as hell, Sam Harris.
And the moral emergency that came to the world's attention on October 7th, and what is appropriate to think in the aftermath of all of that, right? Dave Smith is the only reason why anyone knows what Dave Smith thinks about any of this is very likely because Joe had him on multiple times to talk about it, right?
Yeah, and this is what the cabal knows. They know that you only allow the people who are inside the cabal to get influence and get a voice. People like myself, we get shadow banned and kicked out, and they steal my money, they steal my influence. But you know what they also do? They follow my channel and they take my geopolitical analysis. Who was in Cambodia reporting to Cambodia from Cambodia for 4 months, 6 months before Donald Trump announced the largest percentage tariffs on Cambodia? Where do you think a lot of that information came from? I don't think I'm big noting myself. I was there for 6 months reporting on it. That came from me. They steal my information, and you don't get any payment for it. They steal your hard work, and that's what these people are. That's what the cabal is. It's a fucking parasite on the hard work of the white hardworking man like myself, and I fucking hate them. Fucking hate them. They steal my work. They steal my knowledge. They steal everybody's technology, and they benefit from it. And then when you want to talk about them stealing your shit, they get angry. These fucking pieces of shit. Fuck these people.
He's a pure misinformation artist, and on top of many others. And when Joe talks to someone like Trump or Tucker Carlson or any of these other guys who lie.
It's sort of
I can't stand this fool. We're going to keep going.
par for the course, unfortunately. Hamas has repeatedly broken its side of deals in the stage one of the ceasefire agreement. We saw that not least in its obscene handover ceremonies of Israeli hostages, including its obscene parading of the coffin of Israeli babies in front of jubilant crowds in Gaza the other week, on top of the war crimes that Hamas has committed by abducting and torturing and killing.
Just look at this guy's face. Just look at that face. These are the people that run your country. He looks fucking evil, doesn't he? That's because he is. He's an evil piece of shit. Evil piece of fucking shit. This is as good a time as any to end this video.